Okay. Silence, class. I have a very important announcement to say. Who in the fuck took my prick at Dakimakura? I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna make sure that even your friggin' boss don't produce any more seed so you cannot procreate with your favorite waifu. Whoever took my Dakimakura, step forward, because I'm not gonna be nice to you. Oh, wait. Oh, it was below the table. Don't worry, guys. I didn't kill anyone for this. Anyways, the other day I was consulting with you. It seems like you wanna see my hot take on recommended builds for DLC3 BlackSouls 2. Okay, let's gonna go straight up to the point. And I must add, I am not gonna include anything that comes from the Chaos Dungeon. It is not a viable way to acquire any items whatsoever. Plus, I will recommend you get 50k in every single stat so you can get the best at difficulty 9. And with this, we start with build number 1, which is my favorite of all. For the main boss fight, we are gonna start with a heavy hitter, that is the Hans machine gun. Then, as a shield, I would recommend either Church Rifle to increase your accuracy or the Two-Face of Buckler. But I would recommend this with the enemies that they have avoidance of show. Like for example, Unis. On the head, and this is gonna be a stable on this freaking DLC, gonna be the Mystery of the Night Sky. Then on the body for the DLC, I recommend you to use the Armor of the Sun because its capabilities to increase your attack and defense. And the speed drawback is not a much. Speed above a certain amount, it doesn't make you faster, but it's really useful for other items such as the Hero Bow and the Throwing Knife. And the range is gonna be the important part. I am of the school of having 3 Black Rabbit rings and 1 Polar Bear ring. It guarantees you that you are gonna doing at least 4 attacks per turn, then potentially 5, and depending on the covenant that you use, for example, the Cutie Covenant, and if you start the fight with the Andor Sword, you will have potentially 84, which I think that is very insane. You're gonna be a massive last cannon, but everything is gonna melt, especially if you use the resins, which it will increment your attack and items such as the Carpenter Screw, but also it will get complemented by weapons like the Deep Sea Night Anchor. When you use the buff Indignation, those 84 attacks, they can potentially become 102 attacks. The other build, more like a niche that you need to do at some point in the game when you face against enemies that they need to be attacked with percentage base damage, such as Florence Nightingale. So I would recommend you the Rotten Sides Jabberwock and the Arbiter Scythe. The Arbiter Scythe can provide you with HP and MP regen, and the Rotten Scythe Jabberwock, it will provide you with the skills. And the Guardian Angel, because the Guardian Angel, you buy this point of the game, whenever you defeat the Wet Nurse, you will exchange the soul in right here. And that armor is pretty insane because 80% chance of revival is the best armor in there. And probably the one that you're gonna stick around after the fight with the Wet Nurses. On your other items, it's still recommended to use the Black Rabbit rings. And I will say the most significant change, the Polar Bear ring for a White Rabbit ring. Because that will increase your stats by 20% and it will give you a 50 bonus percent chance, so more attacks. So like this, you become pretty much unstoppable. You may even use the Node Covenant, it's always recommended and super easy to get. And for those of you, if you don't want to use the Enhanced Machine Gun, I do understand that you have your preference. I will say the third build I will recommend, it is not technically a build, but it's more a combination of different weapons that you use to combo. Keep all of these items will have potentially, and if you use the Deep Sea Anchor, potentially 9. So probably it's gonna say, if you use Indignation, start the battle with the Undersword. So potentially 10 actions in your first turn. Then the combination goes like this. You start with a fight with the Undersword. You swap into the Hero Bow because you can use an area of effect attack that scales with attack and speed. And it can do 2 skills, so that will be 2 of the 10 possible actions. The next, the Moonlight Greatsword. Scales with magic and attack, which will be another 2 actions. Then Storm Ruler, and use Supreme Storm Ruler, and then Kirishi Katana, and use every single one of the actions that the Kirishi Katana can do. Unfortunately, there is no way in the game to know how many actions you got that turn, which is a massive problem. Also, the problem with the Kirishi Katana is your magic gonna lower, so your attack with the Moonlight Greatsword is not gonna be that good. So you can alternatively use the Sword of Giants, but again, your speed is also gonna be affected, and you will not get the 100% critical chance. Critical hits are always better, so prioritize doing critical hits. These are my 3 build recommendations. I hope this video was instructive enough. Anything you wanna say? Comment section. Wanna reach me? The best option is my Discord server. Thank you very much, everyone, for your continued support on my channel, and I hope that you have a great day. Well, it's time to teach a certain doll some correction. Well, actually, she's very polite. Yeah, she doesn't deserve the hate, man.